And joining us for more tonight on these key developments, Director at Middle East Political Information Network, Eric Mandel. Eric, it's great to see you as always. Got a lot of ground to cover here. The State Department spokesperson was actually asked about our exclusive today. And she said that if there was a meeting, you would think that she would know something about that, right? But she said that she would look into it further. Provided this meeting did happen, what would the ramifications of such a meeting be, and what would it signify to you?
So having back-channel talks is not unusual. Right. President Obama concluded the JCPOA basically with things that have gone through Oman. So what's going on here? Iran is under pressure. These sanctions, even though they weren't supposed to work without European help, are really hurting them. So what's going on? The Iranians have a multi-pronged approach. One is they're trying to manipulate the Europeans. They're trying to do hardball with America, knocking down some drones and basically the limpet missiles, limpet mines in Hormuz. They also have the soft approach, which is going in Erbil, in Iraq, in Kurdistan. There's a very interesting dynamic that's going on there because you have Iranian Kurds who are hiding from the Iranians, and the Kurds in the north are worried about American abandoning them, so they're cozying up maybe to the Iranians. And then at the same time, dissidents within Iran are possibly, well, we know dissidents are definitely ending up in disappearing, but now the idea, and I have no idea to corroborate this, of 120 Revolutionary Guards disappearing, one is a 3-star general, that would be important. But this is what totalitarian regimes do.
So Christian Millard reported that there were a couple of members of the Revolutionary Guard involved in this meeting last week. Does this indicate that there could be the beginnings of a soft coup d'etat and maybe working its way?
Well, up until now, the supreme leader is in charge of everything. Right. The supreme leader is not in good health. If he passes, then the Iranian Revolutionary Guards could independently want to control the country. They basically control so much of the economy. And again, this is the power plays within authoritarian regimes. So are there coups possible? We don't know. And again, remember, some of this information came out from Iranian state television. Right. So how legit is that?
Listen, if the IRGC wound up calling all the shots, would that be a far worse situation than what we see now?
I'm not sure. Well, it could be. Yeah. The Ayatollah has his own priorities, and it's basically it's still a worldwide hegemonic ambitions. But the Revolutionary Guards, which has basically been his henchmen, if they're independent, they could be more dangerous.
I want to get to an article that you just penned for the Jerusalem Post in a moment. However, first, the IAEA is going to be holding an emergency meeting tomorrow about Iran's nuclear breaches. Do you expect anything to come out of this?
No. The reason it was called, because any one of the members of this group, I think it's 25 nations can call it, so they called it. So the Americans want to basically put the evidence on the table saying if they break this deal, then there's supposed to be some consequences. And the Europeans aren't going to want any consequence, the Chinese aren't. So I don't really expect anything to come of it.
All right, now let's talk about this piece that you just wrote for the Jerusalem Post, because in it, you're in essence asking if it's already too late to stop Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. You were just in Israel. What was the answer?
Well, the article was entitled, when will it be a day too late?
Right.
And the answers that I got, number one was, whether it's Bibi Netanyahu or Benny Gantz or whoever's there, if they think they're going to get a nuclear weapon that it's irreversible, Israel will preemptively strike. And Israel has the capacity to do that, but the United States certainly could do it better. So that's the first thing. The JCPOA was a pathway for them to get a nuclear bomb.
That's what Prime Minister Netanyahu had just said.
It's correct. I was involved in the Senate to a certain degree, hearing firsthand what was happening in 2014 and 2015. And the administration got what it wanted, but it was a very weak deal. And it's a deal that guaranteed them an industrial-sized nuclear program at a time of their choosing. And the president was drawing from an unsigned deal that was against American national security interests, I believe was the correct thing. And the president says what he wants is not war. And we'll take him at his word. And I know the Iranians, I don't think, want war at this point. But what would this transactional president, will he, if he has the opportunity to renegotiate this deal, but what will he give up for it? Will he give up saying that the Iranians could stay permanently in Syria, will allow them to have bases on the Mediterranean, in Tartus and places like that. What will they give up? Because the president, if he's so focused just on the nuclear part, there's another part here to hold in the Iranians. And I think it's not going to necessarily end totally in America's favor.
The question is, would he allow Iranians to stay in Syria, knowing that Israel wants them nowhere near Syria? Eric Mandel, we have to leave it right there. It's great to see you as always.
Great to
Thanks
see you,
for
Eric.
coming on the show.